Let's give the choir another round of applause for those wonderful selections. The children's choir with that new flavor and the adult choir with that old country backwoods down home church song. I didn't know if to clap or run across the front of the class. For some wonderful selections. And we thank you, choirs. And I'd like to say good afternoon, brothers and sisters. And it's always welcome to the Israel of God Sabbath Day Bible Study class, where we teach the Word of God by subject and by title, from Genesis to Revelations. Because we believe that you can't read half a book and get the entire story. And I'm your teacher today, for those who don't know me, Brother McKinley, my reader, Brother Norman. And as our head pastor, Brother Bowie, always say, so when you come to the Israel of God, bring paper, pencil, and some patience. Because we go through the Bible. We don't cherry pick it and just teach what we want to believe. We go through the entire Bible. But today's lesson, brothers and sisters, is Israel's destruction and restoration is from the Lord. And that's who it's from, brothers and sisters. Nobody else. It is from the Lord. And I agree, we have been mistreated, abused, used, and treated real bad. Israel has. However, Israel wants to blame our condition on everybody else. Because it's easier to do that than to just look where the blame should be placed. When the truth is, our condition is our own fault. It's Israel's fault. It's our forefathers, our foreparents' fault. So what the Lord did, he laid it out on the table. He gave Israel a choice. And they chose the path that they wanted to go down. And they chose that path, and we have been paying for it ever since. And the reason why I decided to do this lesson, because a lot of Hebrew Israelite camps now, they want to blame the Gentiles for Israel's destruction and for the condition we are in today. And by doing so, they in essence teach us that the Gentiles cannot be saved. No matter what they do, they cannot be saved. And as I always say, that's just stupid. I just put it like this. That's stupid. Now, it doesn't make sense that no matter what they do, if they repent, if they turn to the Lord, they still cannot get salvation. And I always say, if that was the case, if that was me, and no matter what I do, my outcome would be the same, why would I even try to do anything right? The gloves are coming up. I'm getting bucked. It's just whatever it is. My outcome could be the same either way. So today we're going to start this in Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter. And we're going to see, according to the Bible, who's responsible for Israel's destruction, who is going to redeem or restore them, and when this is going to take place. So in Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter, the Lord laid it out for Israel here. And like he always do, even in the Garden of Eden, he gave them a choice. The Lord always gives you a choice. He don't force nothing on you. So the Lord gave Israel this choice, but each one came with some conditions. And that's what people don't want to look at. So Deuteronomy 28, we're going to pick it up at verse 1. Verse 1. Go ahead, brother.
And it shall come to pass, if thou shalt hearken diligently unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe and to do all his commandments, which I command thee this day.
So the first thing the Lord say, if you shall hearken or listen, obey his word and do all of his commandments that he command, not some of them, not until he come again and nail him to the cross, but you should do all of his commandments that he set before thee this day. What will happen? Go ahead.
That the Lord thy God will set thee on high above all nations of the earth.
And if you do that, he will set you on high above all the nations of the earth. So he's telling Israel, if you just obey me, you will be on the top. You'll be above every nation. Not some nations, but every nation on the earth. And what else he said? Go ahead.
And all these blessings shall come on thee and overtake thee, if thou shalt hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God.
He said, not only will he bless you, but all these blessings will overtake you. That means you can't get away from them. You can't run from these blessings. No matter where you go, them blessings be there waiting on you. Go ahead.
Blessed shalt thou be in the city, and blessed shalt thou be in the field. Blessed shall be the fruit of thy body, and the fruit of thy ground, and the fruit of thy cattle, the increase of thy kind, and the flocks of thy sheep.
So wherever you are, you will be blessed. In the city, if you decide to move out the city, go to the country, the blessings be there waiting on you. What took you so long? I've been waiting on you. Your children will be blessed. Your crops will be blessed. Your livestock, everything you touch will be blessed. If, like with that, he said, if you hearken unto my words. But skip to 10.
And all the people of the earth shall see that thou art called by the name of the Lord, and they shall be afraid of thee.
He said, and the people of the earth shall see that you are called by the name of the Lord, and they shall be afraid of thee. It's not you they're afraid of, it's the name of the Lord. It's the Lord's name that's in you. That's what they're afraid of. He said, and all the people of the earth, and he be called by the name of the Lord. And what's his name? Israel. Because he adopted Jacob and gave Jacob his name. But go ahead, brother.
And the Lord shall make thee plenteous in goods, in the fruit of thy body, and in the fruit of thy cattle, and in the fruit of thy ground, in the land which the Lord sware unto thy fathers to give thee.
Okay, go ahead.
The Lord shall open unto thee good treasures, the heavens, to give thee rain unto the land in his season, and to bless all the works of thine hand. And thou shalt lend unto many nations, and thou shalt not borrow.
So he said he should open up his treasure and give you rain. Your crops won't be any droughts anymore. All your crops will get the rain that it needs. And also he said, you shall lend to many nations and shall not borrow. Can you imagine that? You'll be the financier. You'll be the one writing the check instead of waiting on somebody to write you a check. And you'll be able to lend to not only each other, but we'll be able to lend to many nations. Right now, I can't lend this brother $10. Not without needing next week, or I'm short on my house note. But he said he would be able to lend to many nations. Go ahead, 13.
And the Lord shall make thee the head, and not the tail.
He shall make you the head and not the tail. Go ahead.
And thou shalt be above only, and thou shalt not be beneath.
He said you'll be above and not beneath. You'll be on top. You'll be the head only and not the tail. Go ahead.
If that thou hearken unto the commandments of the Lord thy God, which I command thee this day, to observe and to do them.
And he always throw that in there. If you hearken, if you listen, if you obey his word. But if you don't obey his word, there's another side to this coin. Like I said, he said, if you do all I say, I will put these blessings on you. If you obey me, these are the conditions you will be in. Skip to 15.
But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe, to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee.
And then he reversed. He said, if you don't do it, then all these curses shall come upon you, and they also will overtake you. No matter where you go, you cannot get away from them. No matter where you go, you cannot escape these curses if you don't obey the Lord. Go ahead.
Cursed shall thou be in the city, and cursed shall thou be in the field.
And you curse where you be, wherever you go. In the city, in the field, you can't escape them. If you don't obey him. Skip to 17.
Cursed shall be thy basket at the store.
Go ahead.
Cursed shall be the fruit of thy body, and the fruit of thy land, the increase of thy kind, and the flocks of thy sheep.
So it'll be just the opposite. If you don't obey him, everything you have will be cursed instead of blessed. Skip to 25.
The Lord shall cause thee to be smitten before thine enemies. Thou shalt go out one way against them, and flee 7 ways before them.
And your enemy, you go out against your enemy, the Lord would cause them to defeat you. You go against them one way and flee 7 ways. That's why right now, I know when I was a child, we be walking, we hear something, everybody just take off running, going in everywhere. No direction, just running. What you running for? I ran because you ran. But go ahead, brother.
And shall be removed into all the kingdoms of the earth.
And that's what people don't understand. The Lord say, you shall be removed. You shall be removed to all the kingdom of earth. Not migrate, not go on your own free will for a better life. You will be removed. That means wherever you are, somebody took you there against your will. But skip to 28.
The Lord shall smite thee with madness and blindness and astonishment of heart.
You always be angry, and you don't know why. Always lost and confused. Always surprised, astonished. Always surprised. Why does it always happen to me? Why I can't get a foot up? Why I can't get ahead? It's always wondering. Just blind. Don't know which direction to go in. Go ahead.
And thou shalt grope at noonday, as the blind gropeth in darkness. And thou shalt not prosper in thy ways.
You shall grope at noon. They always lost. Don't know where to go. Don't know what to do next. And we have tried everything. We marched. We protest. We had sit-ins. Nothing has changed yet. We still going through the same stuff. And then, finally, what we get? We get civil rights. Then we realize that's only on paper. We still under the same condition. I know I was a young teenager back in Greenville, Mississippi. We had a guy who he's gonna rise up. You know, South Mississippi in the South. Back in the early 70s, late 60s, early 70s, conditions was rough. He's gonna rise up. We're gonna go. We can't eat at this restaurant. We're gonna go. We're gonna sit in. We're going to set it out. Come on, we all going. We all marching down there. We go and sit in. We sitting down. Y'all going to serve us. We ain't leaving. I said, well, we're going to call the police. Then the guy stood up. Let them call the police. We're not moving. We stand up for our rights. I don't care if police come in here and bust us upside the head with these sticks. I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. Nobody said nothing about getting beat with a stick. I ain't signed up for this. Hey, well, we ain't leaving. I got to go to the bathroom. I walked on out the door. I ain't say which one. I ain't tell them I was going to my one at home. I found another way to protest. I don't think that BLT worth getting hit with a blackjack over. But where are we, brother?
In the middle of 29.
Middle of 29. Go ahead.
And thou shalt be only oppressed and spoiled evermore, and no man shall save thee.
And no man shall save you.
Thou shalt betroth a wife, and another man shall lie with her. And thou shalt build an house, and thou shalt not dwell therein.
And all this happened during slavery time. But go ahead.
Thou shalt plant a vineyard, and shall not gather the grapes thereof.
You shall plant a vineyard and not gather the grapes thereof. Everything you do, you'll be doing it for somebody else. Somebody else. Skip to 36.
The Lord shall bring thee and thy king which thou set over thee unto a nation which neither thou nor thy fathers have known. And there shalt thou serve other gods, wood and stone.
And everywhere Israel was carried to, removed to, they serving those other gods. Our forefathers did not know anything about the God of Christmas, about the God of Easter. But what we do every year, we work all year long, work extra hard to try to get that bonus so we can go out on December 25th and buy our children some toys and give credit to this fat white man in a red suit. Or on Easter. What we do on Easter, because nobody bothered to research it. We go out and buy our boys these little suits, these girls, these little pretty little dresses, dress them up like little pimps and prostitutes. But that's all it is, because that's what you celebrate. Nobody bothered to research it. But then if you go up to them and say, oh, look at your little girl. She's so cute. Look at her dressed like a little harlot. Then they get mad at you. I'm like, well, why are you mad at me? If somebody's robbing me and somebody come by in a police uniform, that's who I'm going to go to. I'm saying, officer, I'm being robbed. Oh, I'm not an officer. I'm an auto mechanic. Well, why are you got a police uniform? But nobody bothered to research it. Where are we?
Verse 37.
37. Go ahead.
And thou shalt become an astonishment, a proverb, and a byword among all nations, whither the Lord shall lead thee.
And thou shalt become an astonishment. Even other people don't understand why this is happening to you. And a byword. I mean, we know that all them little pet names they put on you. And everywhere Israel is, they got a little pet name that's been put on us. Everywhere. But skip to 41.
Thou shalt beget sons and daughters, but thou shalt not enjoy them, for they shall go into captivity. All thy trees and fruit of the land shall the locust consume. The stranger that is within thee shall get up above thee very high, and thou shalt come down very low.
He said, the stranger that is within thee, not other nations, because when Israel came out of Egypt, it was a mixed multitude. But they came out because they were with Israel. The Lord was bringing Israel out of bondage. But he said, those strangers that is with you, they're going to come up above you. That's why right now, all other nations, everybody come to this country, they move to this country for a better life, they get above you. For long, you end up working for them. But we got to remember who's doing this. But go ahead.
Verse 44. He shall lend to thee, and thou shalt not lend to him. He shall be the head, and thou shalt be the tail.
And that's how it is. Go ahead.
Moreover, all these curses shall come upon thee, and shall pursue thee, and overtake thee, till thou beest destroyed, because thou hearkenest not unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to keep all his commandments and his statutes, which he commanded thee.
He said, these curses shall overtake thee. They shall pursue you and overtake you. That's why no matter where you go, what you try to do, these curses follow you. You can't outrun them. You cannot get away from them. But go ahead.
And they shall be upon thee for a sign and for a wonder, and upon thy seed
and it
forever.
shall be upon you as a sign and a wonder. So all you have to do, look around anywhere you see a people that's under these conditions. That's what a sign does. A sign identifies. All you got to do is look to see who's under these conditions, and you found Israel. That's all you have to do, because the Lord said it would be for a sign and for a wonder. But skip to 63.
And it shall come to pass that as the Lord rejoices over you to do you good and to multiply you, so the Lord will rejoice over you to destroy you and to bring you to naught.
And it'll come to pass, whatever choice you make, the Lord's going to rejoice over. He gave you that choice. He laid it on the table. Like that old saying, you don't have to go home, but you got to get out of here. So the Lord said, I don't care what you do. Whatever you decide to do, I'm going to rejoice over it, because it's your decision, and you decided to make it. Go ahead.
And ye shall be plucked up from off the land whither thou goest to possess it.
You'll be plucked up. Again, not migrate, but plucked up. Somebody's going to pick you up and carry you to the land where you will go. But go ahead.
And the Lord shall scatter thee among all people, from the one end of the earth even unto the other. And there thou shalt serve other gods, which neither thou nor thy fathers have known, even wood and stone.
So the Lord will scatter you. No matter where you are, the conditions will be the same. From one end of the earth to the other. But we got to remember, keep in mind, the Lord is doing this. Skip to 68.
And the Lord shall bring thee unto Egypt again with ships.
And Egypt to us is bondage. It's slavery. Saying the Lord will bring you again to Egypt with ships. Go ahead.
By the way whereof I spake unto thee, thou shalt see it no more again, and there ye shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen, and no man shall buy you.
He said, you shall be sold for bondmen. You're going to be in these conditions, and nobody's going to be able to buy you out of it. Nobody will be able to rescue you from these conditions. And I think about it sometimes. I say, okay, look at Israel. All other nations that have been here, and they done been treated bad. They got a little reparations, or the country they from protest. You did our people wrong. You should do something. But what about us? Nobody tried to save us. Nobody. When slavery was finally abolished, how come we didn't see no canoes or elephants or something come? Somebody come if we Hamites. How come Ham didn't come get us? But let's go further. But let's see what Israel chose. Let's go to Daniel, the 9th chapter. Let's see if we decide if we're under the blessings or the curses. See what Israel decided to do. Daniel 9, we're going to start with verse 5. Daniel 9, we're going to read 5, and then we're going to skip to 8. Go ahead, brother.
We have sinned and have committed iniquity and have done wickedly and have rebelled, even by departing from thy precepts and from thy judgments.
So Daniel 9, he said, Israel have sinned. Lord, we have sinned. We have committed iniquity. We have departed from your commandments, from your word. Skip to 8.
O Lord, to us belongeth confusion of face, to our kings, to our princes, and to our fathers, because we have sinned against thee.
So he acknowledged it again. We have sinned against thee, Lord. Go ahead.
To the Lord our God belongeth mercies and forgiveness, though we have rebelled against him.
He said, we have rebelled against him. Go ahead.
Neither have we obeyed the voice of the Lord our God, to walk in his ways, which he set before us by his servants the prophets.
That he sent to us by his servants the prophets. So he acknowledged that Israel has sinned. But skip to 15.
And now, O Lord our God, thou hast brought thy people forth out of the land of Egypt with a mighty hand, and hast gotten them renowned, as at this day we have sinned, we have done wickedly.
He said, we have sinned, we have done wickedly. But go back up to 11. Go back up to 11. Because that's what I want to get to. Go ahead.
Yea, all Israel have transgressed thy law, even by departing, that they might not obey thy voice.
He said, all of Israel, so nobody escaped. Nobody can point the blame at the finger at nobody else. He said, all of Israel has transgressed thy law. But go ahead.
Therefore, the curse is poured upon us, and the oath that is written in the law of Moses, the servant of God, because we have sinned against him.
Oh, so the curses are on Israel because we disobeyed the Lord, because we transgressed his word. We decided we did not want to get the blessings. We didn't want to obey him. So we are under the curses. But go ahead.
And have he confirmed his words, which he spake against us, and against our judges that judged us, by bringing upon us a great evil, for under the whole heaven have not been done as have been done under Jerusalem.
And he confirmed his word that Moses wrote. And we are living them now. And he hadn't done this to any other nation on the planet. Only Israel has experienced this. But you don't even have to look all over the world. You just look in the United States at the conditions that Israel is in right here in the United States. But no matter where you go, Israel suffers the same conditions, the same curse, the same. But go ahead.
As it is written in the law of Moses, all this evil is come upon us. Yet made we not our prayers before the Lord our God.
And all this is happening to us, we still don't have sense enough to turn to the true and living God. Israel's still chasing after these pagan gods. They still want to kick against Jesus. But go ahead.
That we might turn from our iniquities and understand thy truth.
He said, we might return from our iniquities and understand thy truth. Go ahead.
Therefore have the Lord watched upon the evil and brought it upon us. For the Lord our God is righteous in all his works which he doeth, for we obey not his voice.
So Israel decided they didn't want to obey the Lord and get those blessings. So now we are under the curse. Israel is under the curse. And remember, the Lord did this. The Lord brought this upon Israel because of the choice that Israel made. Let's go to Deuteronomy 32. Deuteronomy 32. The Lord did this. Israel don't even know. Nobody even know who you are. Deuteronomy 32, we're going to pick it up at 8. Deuteronomy 32 and 8. We know this is true Israel here. Go ahead, brother.
When the Most High divided to the nations their inheritance, when he separated the sons of Adam, he set the bounds of the people according to the number of the children of Israel.
That's how much the Lord loved Israel. He set the bounds according to the number of the children of Israel, 12. That's why there's 12 hours in the day, 12 hours in the night, 12 months in the year, 12 foundations, 12 pillars, 12 gates. Everything he set up according to the tribe of Israel, for the 12 tribes of Israel. That's how much he loved Israel. But go ahead.
For the Lord's portion is his people. Jacob is the lot of his inheritance.
But Jacob is the lot of his inheritance. Go ahead.
He found him in a desert land and in a waste howling wilderness. He led him about. He instructed him. He kept him as the apple of his eye.
So Israel is the apple of the Lord's eye. The apple of the Lord's eye. Skip to 15.
But Jeshurun waxed fat and kicked.
But Jeshurun, Israel waxed fat and kicked. Israel got comfortable. It got comfortable. That's how it is. Once we get there, once we make it, we forget about how we got there, who got us there. So Jeshurun, so Israel waxed fat. They full now, they comfortable. And what they do, go ahead.
Thou art waxen fat, thou art grown thick, thou art covered with fatness. Then he forsook God, which made him.
Then they forsook the God that made them. They didn't want that God to rule over them anymore. They didn't want that God. They want their own God. That's how Israel is. We don't want the true and living God because we got to obey his rules and his commandments and his conditions. We want our own God, the fake God, the gods that we made. See, that way we can control the narrative. We can tell them what we want to do, what we don't want to do. And that's how Israel is. But go ahead, brother.
And lightly esteemed the rock of his salvation.
And they lightly esteemed the rock of their salvation. After the Lord done all this for Israel, then they lightly esteemed. Well, the Lord didn't, he just got my foot in the door, but I did all this myself. Now they want to take the credit for it. But go ahead.
They provoked him to jealousy with strange gods. With abominations provoked they him to anger.
They provoked him to jealousy with strange gods. Go ahead.
They sacrificed unto devils, not to God. To gods whom they knew not, to new gods that came newly up, whom our fathers feared not.
And our fathers didn't fear them because our fathers knew these gods was pagan gods. They couldn't do anything. People had all these big statues and pagan gods that they'd have made, and they bow down and worship them. If the house catch on fire, you have to carry it out. It'll burn with the house. And you want to worship it? It can't do anything for you but take up space in your living room. But where are we?
Verse 18.
Go ahead.
Of the rock that begat thee, thou art unmindful, and hast forgotten God that formed thee.
They forgot the rock that begat them. They forgot the God that formed them. Go ahead.
And when the Lord saw it, he abhorred them.
And the Lord hated them when he saw it. Because he done all this for them, then they lightly esteemed him. They forsook him. They said they didn't need him anymore. Go ahead.
Because of the provoking of his sons and of his daughters.
And go ahead.
And he said, I will hide my face from them. I will see what their end shall be, for they are a very forward generation, children in whom is no faith.
He said, so I hide my faith in them, and I see what their end shall be. I see how they turn out. Skip to 23.
I will heap mischief upon them. I will spend mine arrows upon them.
And this is the Lord saying this. The Lord said, I would do this. I am the one who would do this. Skip to 26.
I said, I will scatter them into corners. I will make the remembrance of them to cease from among men.
He said, I will scatter them into the corner. I will make the remembrance of them cease from among men. That's what, don't nobody know who you are, Israel? They don't know that Solomon was your king, that Moses was your prophet. They don't know that. Nobody, you don't even know who you are. We are confused ourselves. At one point in history, well, we were Negro. Then we became Afro-American. Then I guess we just got tired. We just say, forget it. We black. We not even a people. We just a color. So even we don't know who we are. That's why now a lot of people want to make it everybody Israel. I tell them, but if they don't fall under these conditions, under these signs that the Lord put on Israel, they are not Israel. They are not Israel. But let's go further. Let's go to Jeremiah, the 15th chapter. Jeremiah 15, we're going to pick it up at 1. But the Lord did this because he was angry with Israel. Jeremiah 15, we're going to pick it up at 1. Nobody know who Israel is, but they know that they don't want to be around you. But those curses come upon you. Everywhere you go, those curses follow you. What happens? You move into the neighborhood, they move out. They move farther and farther away. I remember when my wife and I, when we first started out, I had a little minimum wage job. I was in school. I had a little minimum wage job. We were barely making it. She had a decent job, but we had these children. So we making it. We living in the hood. So we said, you know what? We see the struggle our people going through. Even when we make it, we're not going to leave the hood. We're going to stay in the hood. And we're going to support our people. And the Lord blessed us. And we started being able to provide better and better. And one day she came and said, we are doing a little better now. What you think about moving out to a better school district for the kids? I went to the closet, got my suitcase. I was waiting on you to say something. I've been ready to go. But we don't even want to be around us. Because every time we couldn't even have them. Every time we go to work, we come back, somebody broke in the house. So we don't even want to be around those curses. So we moved out to the suburbs. And it was salt and pepper at first. Not for long. But it was a nice neighborhood, nice community. All the neighbors, we all got along well. Go to work, kids leave their bike outside, didn't have to worry about nobody stealing it. My daughter Kalila, she left her bike. I was going to see how long she was going to leave it in the cold. It was out there 2 weeks. I finally went and got it. But one day we come home, somebody had broke in the house. And a few of the neighbors' house. We're like, oh, man, we thought we got away from this. We walk around trying to see what's missing, and I see a footprint on the back door where they kicked it in. I'm like, wow, that footprint looked familiar. I went and got my little nephew's shoe. I'm like, man, we trying to get away from it. We done brought them with us. He done broke in our house. And he lived there. But those curses, you can't get away from them, Israel. No matter how far in the woods you try to move, them curses are going to be there. What you mean? I've been waiting on you. But the Lord brought this on us. But Jeremiah 15, to pick it up at 1. Go ahead, brother.
Then said the Lord unto me, though Moses and Samuel stood before me,
Hey, my readers.
yet my mind could
The
not
lights
be
are
toward
out.
this people. Cast them out of my sight, and let them go forth.
He said, though Moses and Samuel stood before me, he was righteous men. The Lord used them to do a lot of good. He said, even if they stand before me, I still don't want this people before me. Cast them out from my sight. Go ahead.
And it shall come to pass, if they shall say unto thee, whither shall we go forth? Then thou shalt tell them, thus saith the Lord, such as are for death to death, and such as are for the sword to the sword, and such as are for the famine to the famine, and such as are for the captivity to the captivity.
So the Lord said, if they ask, where do we go? The Lord said, tell them, those to the death, those to the sword, the famine, the famine. Whatever comes to them, comes to them. And we escaped the death, the sword, the famine, but we didn't escape the captivity. The captivity got us. People always talk about, well, you know, I'm not in no captivity. I'm my own man. I'm free. I say, oh, you are? Yeah. I say, well, go fishing without a license. Or that car you bought, you paid your hard money for it. Drive it without a license or without tags on it. And see how free you are. That house that you bought, pay cash for it. Don't owe a dime on it. Don't pay your taxes. And see how free you are. It's a shame. You work hard all your life to buy a house, get it paid for, and you still got to pay rent to live in it in the form of taxes. But you're free. I said, you're only free to be treated the way they want to treat you. That's the only freedom you got. And no man can buy you out of this. No man. And those who ever tried, something always happened to them. Because you can't undo the hand of the Lord. You can't undo it. But go ahead, brother. Where are we?
Verse 3.
Verse 3. Go ahead.
And I will appoint over them 4 kinds, saith the Lord, the sword to slay, and the dogs to tear, and the fowls of the heaven, and the beasts of the earth, to devour and destroy.
And these beasts of the field, and these two-legged beasts. It's men and wild animals, because we all beasts. Go ahead.
And I will cause them to be removed unto all kingdoms of the earth.
And Lord keep putting that in there so you'll know. He said, I will cause them to be removed. I won't send them out on their own. They will be removed. Go ahead.
Because of Manasseh, the son of Hezekiah, king of Judah, for that which he did in Jerusalem.
Go ahead.
For who shall have pity upon thee, O Jerusalem, or who shall bemoan thee, or who shall go aside to ask how thou doest?
And no one have pity on Israel. No one cares. No one asks, oh, how you doing? No, they may have pity on us for a moment, but it don't last for long. It doesn't last for long. In other nations, they can't even understand. The other nations, did you know for the longest, you hear a lot now about police shooting innocent, unarmed Israelites in the streets or wherever, and nothing happens. For the longest, other nations could not they actually thought that they were doing something. They couldn't believe that the police just shoot them, and they weren't doing nothing to warrant it. But we are in astonishment. That just don't happen. I was watching one incident. The guy was sitting in the car, and the police had the gun on him. Get out, and the gun just went off. Boom, I don't know what happened. The gun just went off. I said, that's that curse. They can't understand. They think we're being sarcastic when we say when the police pull us over and our hands on the steering wheel and they say, your license and registration, you got to narrate everything you do. I'm taking my hand off the steering wheel, putting it in my pocket. That's what my wallet is and my license. You know, you got to let them know what you're doing. They don't understand that, but that's that curse that's follow us that we can't get away from. Go ahead, where are we?
Verse 6.
Go ahead, 6.
Thou hast forsaken me, saith the Lord. Thou art gone backwards. Therefore will I stretch out my hand against thee and destroy thee. I am weary and with repentance.
So the Lord say, I will destroy you, and I'm weary with repentance. Every time I save you, Israel, you turn right around and do something worse. He said, the more I do for you, the worse you get. And that's Israel. The more you do for Israel, the worse Israel gets. You see that on your job. You let them get away with a little bit. Okay, he just 5 minutes late. That's all. That's fine. He used to that. He said, 5 minutes, they ain't say nothing. I guess I'll be 10 minutes late from now on. They still didn't say nothing. I'll be 15 minutes late. When we first started here in Memphis, we was on McClure. We used to start class. I think we started off first at 11 o'clock. Nobody was there. They started coming in by 12. So boy moved it to 12. They started coming in at 1.
Yes, sir.
They moved it to 1. They started coming in 1:30, 2 o'clock. Boy, I can't move it no more. We're going to miss the Sabbath. I said, you can't accommodate Israel. The Lord tried. He said, I grow weary of these people. Tell people, you got to realize Israel ran the Lord off this planet. That's just how bad Israel is. Did we finish that 6?
Yes, sir.
Let's go to Luke, the 13th chapter. I want everybody to know it's the Lord that's doing this. Luke 13 and 34. It's the Lord that's doing this. No other nation is doing this. You can't be mad at the upset with the other nations. You want to be mad, you got to be mad at the one that's doing it. Well, if you're stupid, if you're mad at God, be mad at your fourth parents. They made that choice. But Luke 13 and 34. 13 and 34. Go ahead, brother.
O Jerusalem, Jerusalem, which killest the prophets.
That's right. It was Jerusalem that killed the prophets. It was Israel. It wasn't the Gentiles. It wasn't Hamites. Pilate tried hard to save Jesus. He did not want to kill Jesus. It was Israel that said, crucify him. I mean, Pilate was kept persistent. They said, well, we will appeal to Rome. He said, I tried. But you know your people. But it's Israel the one that does it. Go ahead.
And stonest them that are sent unto thee. How often would I have gathered thy children together, as a hen doth gather her brood under her wings, and ye would not?
Jesus, how often would I have gathered you, Israel? Now, he only lived 33 and a half years. How much time did he have to gather Israel? He only did 3.5 years of ministry. He's talking about before that. He wanted Israel, if you just had repented and you just had done what you're supposed to do, I would have gathered you. But the Lord is one that's got to redeem Israel. And that's what Jesus was sent for. But go ahead.
Behold, your houses is left unto you desolate. And verily I say unto you, ye shall not see me until the time come when ye shall say, blessed is he that cometh in the name of the Lord.
And we're looking for that now. He said, your house is left desolate. You got to spare from it. The Syrians took out the first 9 tribes, and the Babylonians took out the other 3. But the Lord said, your house is left desolate. And then when that happened, the scattering was complete. Israel was scattered through all the nations. But let's go to Luke, the 19th chapter. Let's see how that took place. Luke 19 and 41. 19 and 41. Go ahead, brother.
And then when he was come near, he beheld the city and wept over it,
And he wept because he knew what was going to happen. Jesus knew what was going to happen. Go ahead.
saying, If thou hadst known, even thou, at least in this thy day, the things which belonged unto thy peace, but now they are hid from thine eyes.
He said, if you only known, he said, the time is going to come but the time is going to come when everybody better know what's going on. They better get some understanding. The people don't want to teach about the end time, except you're going to be raptured off. You're going to be waiting to be raptured off. You in your suitcase going to get caught up in a time you wish you wasn't. Waiting on the rapture. Ask anybody going to church all their life. When that end time comes, what's going to happen? Oh, I'm going to be raptured off to heaven. It's going to be so peaceful. I'm going to just walk around all day long. You're going to be the only one up there, so I guess you will be peaceful. You're going to be walking around looking for everybody else. You're going to wish you'd be raptured off. But go ahead, brother.
Verse 43. For the days shall come upon thee, that thine enemies shall cast a trench about thee, and compass thee round, and keep thee in on every side.
So Lord, the time going to come when the enemy shall put a trench around you. And this happened in 70 A.D. You can go read any history book. Just research Titus. You can read any history book, any level. It'll tell you about what happened at this time. But this happened just like the Lord said it would happen. It happened. And it's documented history. It's documented history. Go ahead.
And shall lay thee even with the ground, and thy children within thee. And they shall not leave in thee one stone upon another, because thou knowest not the time of thy visitation.
Because they know not the time of their visitation. That's when the scattering was complete, when this happened. When this happened to Israel. Like I say, you can read any history book. We got some history books here that I could have read to verify. But that's your homework assignment. You can go and research it for yourself. My wife had a cousin. She used to do their family reunion. And she traced their roots all the way back to Madagascar. So she thought, well, we're African. That's where all people come from. But she didn't know, because she didn't have the understanding, that Timbuktu, Madagascar, that's what the major slave port where Israel was shipped from. And all that is documented history. And all that happened around the same time. Just like the Lord said it would. Just like the Lord said it would. But let's go a little further. Let's go to Luke 21st chapter. But see, the Lord don't sneak nothing up on us. He give us signs. He give us signs about things that's going to happen. No, because the Lord even gave signs. I'm talking about the great tribulation. He gave signs about that. But Israel don't like signs. That's why they still talk about being raptured off. He told you what to do when that time comes. But Luke 21 and 20. Go ahead, brother.
And when ye shall see Jerusalem compassed with armies, then know that the desolation thereof is nigh.
So Jesus warned them, when you see this happen, know that your destruction is near. But he didn't leave it there. Go ahead.
Then let them which are in Judea flee unto the mountains, and let them which are in the midst of it depart out, and let not them that are in the countries enter thereinto.
But Jesus warned them. Jesus said, but when you see this happen, if you're in, get out. If you're out, don't go in. He warned them. But like I said, Israel don't like signs. We don't like signs. We just want to do what we want to do. We want to believe what we want to believe. But go ahead.
For these be the days of vengeance, that all things which are written may be fulfilled.
And these are the time. This is the time that Moses wrote about for them. Curses going to come up on Israel. But go ahead.
But woe unto them that are with child, and to them that give suck in those days. For there shall be great distress in the land, and wrath upon this people.
And there'll be great distress in the land, And the Lord wrapped upon Israel for their disobedience. When the Lord finally got tired of Israel and went on and scattered them out, went on and totally cast them out the land. Just like he told Moses to tell the people he was going to do. But go ahead.
And they shall fall by the edge of the sword, and shall be led away captive into all nations.
They shall led away captives into all nations. Everywhere Israel is, they were led away captive. Wherever they are on the planet, they were led away captive. And Israel is in every nation on the planet. Now, where you go, you run into them. And they're all in the same condition. But go ahead.
And Jerusalem shall be trodden down of the Gentiles, until the times of the Gentiles be fulfilled. And there shall be signs in the sun, and in the moon, and in the stars, and upon the earth distress of nations, with perplexity, the sea and the waves roaring.
He said, and Jerusalem shall be trodden down of the Gentiles until the time of the Gentiles be fulfilled. So Israel going to be in this condition until the time of the Gentiles be fulfilled. Because the Lord gave each son of Noah an opportunity to run this thing. Ham, they dropped the ball. Israel, we dropped the ball. Now it's the Gentiles' time, and they're dropping the ball. So the next is the Lord going to have to come and run this thing so it can be run right. But the condition that Israel is in now is going to continue until the time of the Gentile is fulfilled. And the Lord gave him signs as to when this is going to happen. But go ahead.
Men's hearts failing them for fear, and for looking after those things which are coming on the earth. For the powers of heaven shall be shaken.
The Lord ain't going to sneak up on you like people say he is. Everybody going to know he's coming.